Kiki's House of Joy. And if this is your first time here, welcome. This is Kiki's House of Joy. This is where joy is built and made with clear intention. And you are here today for the best week ever series. So this is the best week ever. I come here every week on Sundays around this time. I don't lock myself in. I need freedom in life. And I like to talk about what made this week the best week ever. And so I'll start bit by bit. I break it down with different themes. I have something new, something challenging, something funny or fun, something deep, and then something beautiful. And then we close out the video. So I hope you come in, tune in, relax yourself. Let me know how you're doing. Are you working to have the best year ever? Did you tune in because you were like, I'm trying to do that too? Well, if so, here we go. One thing I learned recently is just, it's if you ever heard of The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, and since Bridgerton is out, it just seems very apropos. It's very, I will say, I didn't know. I just read the book last week, so let's be clear. I didn't know about the book, and I've been doing this for 2 years, but it definitely has, I see a lot of correlations between what I'm doing with the best week ever and the mindset. So if you want to see a real life example of what it means to actually put this kind of mindset into play and live your life, well, sit down and relax. And if you're doing it with me, then let me know, like, how did you have the best week ever? So, all right, let's begin. I am going to relax a little bit and just kind of get settled in. Today, for beverage, just to make sure I'm hydrated, I'm drinking water, not tea. Mm. I really like what I did here. I don't want to mess it up at all. And, whew, okay. So, fun fact, I had a great time last night. We will talk about it. But I woke up with a hangover and I do not drink. But I still have a headache. I'm like, what did I do last night? Like, I fell asleep. Like, I almost passed out. I mean, not in a, I was just tired, meaning like when I was in bed, usually it takes a little bit, hey, Cypher, what's going on? But I was like, whew, here we go. Let me read this. Good day. Yes, I'm having the best week ever. I've been promoted and placed on a special team at your place of business. Promotion. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, congratulations. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. So as far as this, cheers for you. I'm very happy for you. As far as how I got this hangover, I don't know. I don't know if did I not drink enough water. So I've been drinking water to like kind of, see if I can get my equilibrium back, but I'm not sure at all. So I'm drinking, this is not just regular water. I put my chlorophyll in there. So just to help the process, I'm like, do everything you can. And then I have electrolytes down here if I need to. So I think I just I think I went to bed dehydrated. I usually drink a lot of water, but sometimes you underestimate water when you're dancing. And so, yes, you're going to hear about some dancing. So, okay, let's get into this. Let's get into this. All right, something new. So there are a few new things that happened this week. One, I too had a pretty fun change at work, but it was an interesting change, in that I just kind of felt a little renewed in ways, and I enjoyed that aspect of work. A lot of curiosity, how people always want to know what's going on. And I'm like, life is going on, people, just doing my thing. So that was a lot of fun to kind of like navigate the curiosity of folks in my new work venture and what's happening there. Whew. Um, you're dehydrated too. Yeah. I'm like, whew, all right. Then my friend calls me and she goes, and this is I have two accountability partners, and I have a walking one and then a writing one. And so these are my good friends. But in that I find that if they ask me if they ask me to do something, I'm more than likely to do it. They already know that I'm pretty dedicated to things. It's like, and so she asked me, so do there's this book I'm reading, and I just want someone else to read it. And I was like, okay, like what is it? So she goes, it's the Court of Thorn and Roses. And I'm like, okay, like I've seen this book on my Audible several times and I have skipped it every time because it just seems to have a little bit too much action for me. Um, and I just want, if you guys ever recommend me a book, I want it to be clear. Here are the kind of books I like. And this wasn't a book recommendation, so therefore I'm not mad at her. But these are the kind of books I actually like. Like, oh, you want to read a great book? Here's what a great book is to me. If it's a love story, it's just straight up a love story. There's very little action. There's very little conflict. I don't need it. I don't understand why y'all think I don't need it. I don't need any drama. I don't need any extra stuff. I really don't. And then I love biographies. I like to know people's lives and how they did it. And those are probably my two favorite genres of books. Now, and then I like to read the weird stuff, the spiritual stuff, all that kind of stuff. I love that, but when it comes to my two favorite genres, I like autobiographies or biographies, mostly autobiographies. I love to hear someone's story in their words. And then I like to read romance, and it doesn't have to be, I'm not really, smut isn't my need, but I like just straight up easy, breezy love stories. It might be boring to most people, but just give me that. Those are my two favorite genres of books. So, and because I'm so limited there, and I get it, I heard it, it's gonna be hard. Sometimes it's hard for people to recommend that. They want to share what they're doing. So she's like, I got into this somehow, and I just want someone else to like read it. I was like, fine, let's do this thing, y'all. I read Court of Thorn and Roses, so that was new. That was new. Then we have then a really cool thing, and this is kind of what I was saying, minus the smut. A little smut is not that bad. I mean, it's not that bad, but I don't need it gratuitously. That's all I'm trying to say. We don't need a whole lot of it. Um, I would say little moments of love, if you will, right? How do you know? How do you know for sure that it's crossed over that threshold? I feel like, well, that'd be a very interesting book if someone challenged us there with romantic love. Anyway, so as we move forward in this, got me thinking. Then I created a presentation, and this presentation landed me my first speaking gig in a conference. So very, very, very excited. And so I created this presentation about work-life balance because I am very good at achieving a work-life balance. I mean, it's a symptom of the best week ever. Okay, so like when you have the best week, yes, what's up, Sky? When you have the best week ever, like I have, and you are doing these different things, and you have that mentality, and you know it's going to happen, and you're in that zone, you start doing things like, well, what makes it the best week ever? You're typically living a life that's really aligned to your values, and it's aligned to what feels right to you and what excites you. And so if you're doing that, that's going to trickle into everything you do, which means I have truly learned how to strike a work-life balance, because I can't have the best week ever if I don't have work-life balance. So I have it. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta have it. And I don't play around. And so because I have done that, I was able to create a really fun, a conference room meeting. No, 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 no. Like a big conference, like where you go to a large space, like a hotel, like when you have like a big conference and people come in from different areas, to listen. So speaking to like a large group of people on a stage kind of thing. So my first one. So I'm excited because what I built was something more for my internal team, which is like a conference building. But now I am building it for a large room. And so what I did for that presentation, it's fine. And then I'm going to actually really, really build it out, make it interactive and just like, yeah. And so I'm very, 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 very excited. It's something I've been wanting to do. And it was something that I had on my list of like, I'm going to do this. I am going to speak at a conference. It's going to happen. And, just living my life, really true, like living my best life, paying attention, saying yes when opportunities come up, and just, gently putting myself out there. Yes. It's happening. So I'm just very, very excited about the opportunity. And so you'll see me. Well, you don't see me, but I'm just very excited. Anyway, okay. So I got that this week. I was like, Yeah. And so, also, what else? What's new? What's new? Oh, and then for the first time, something new. I went to one of my friends' death to her 20s party. So she was ending her 20s, and so she wanted to have a birthday. You know, it's her birthday party. She's ending her 20s, and so she wanted to have a death to her 20s party, and so she invited everyone to come. She cooked because she's really big at like cooking and feeding people. That's like her thing. And then we all dressed up and as like we're going to a funeral. So we had the choice, we either wear black or white. She very smartly wore red. I was so glad. 'Cause, like, I hope she's not wearing black or white. Like, she's like, you can't wear the colors, right? So she wore even though if I would have done black, I would have had like a veil. I would have like totally like I would have looked like the queen, widow in mourning, but the red was good. So she wore really pretty like red, beautiful, and it was women are so cute with these parties. Uh, it's funny because I was like, "What is this? This is new." I didn't know. I mean, like, I didn't know. That's a funny statement. So it was fun. So everyone comes. We're all in our black, and we're all in our. This wasn't like a woman's party. It was like, but it was a woman. It was her party, but everyone, we're dancing. So this is a party where we're gonna come. We're gonna dance, and so the space that we were in was absolutely like perfect. It's what out of all of our house party dance spaces that I've been to, this was the best one, like hands down. We've like there's this one person in the like kind of the community that has like this like mansion kind of home, and even her home like it fits a lot of people, but there still wasn't as much room to dance. Like this was it. Like this was by far the like the way the space was, how open it was. It was just a great party. It was a great atmosphere. Yeah, this was by far like the best like dance. And the food, it was the food. I just loved it. The vibes were great. You walk in and it kind of reminds you like of like a loft space, and there's like posters everywhere. It's very like this is a home, this is our personality. Like you're not gonna it didn't look like it's not a kind of home that you can just resell. You know what I'm saying? That's someone who's like, this is my home. Like this is where I live. So it's just had the best vibe. It didn't have like, model home look. It had this is my baby. I loved it. I absolutely loved like the space. It just had personality. And then everyone in black was really beautiful. And then white too. I was cute. And and yeah, it was a really cool vibe. The food was really good. People like I was like, like what's gonna happen? Juanita and I, we went together, so we had a nice little coordinated really well. It's great. Now that she lives closer to me, it's fun because we can carpool to places, and like we can take turns. So like one person doesn't always have to drive like the whole distance, and it's nice. It's very nice. It's very nice to like, and then we can like we kind of make our little plan. Like, okay, when are we gonna leave? Like all that. Okay, because there's always a situation where when it's time to leave, that's when I start dancing. I don't know, and I don't do it on purpose, but that's when I start stealing dances. Because most times I'll just be chilling. Oh, I'm chilling, 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 and then I'm like, I don't know what it is about getting ready to go. The dances just are more exciting. You just feel like the energy is just far more exciting because you're like, oh, this might be my last dance. I don't know what it is. So we had just a great time. What's up, Red Star? So what's up? What's up? So we had this, it was great. Then we went to, and so that was my something new. Okay. I'm not sure if I have anything else new, but that is what I have down. And I'm trying to think. I had a very great week, just so you know. There's a lot to try to figure out and what I'm like choosing what I'm going to put in because I'm like, oh, it's a lot. But I think those are all my new things. Something challenging. As you know, I briefly just mentioned Court of Thorn and Roses. This is a very challenging book. This was challenging. So I want to kind of, okay, spoiler alert. If you have not read Court of Thorn and Roses, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I'm about to do some spoiling. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And honestly, don't worry. I mean, if this is really your genre, you're going to like it anyway. If it's not your genre, you're not going to care. Okay. This is not my genre. The reason why is because okay. Court of Thorns, Court of Thorn and Roses is like this like paranormal fantasy romance kind of novel. But it's a lot of gore and violence and just stupidity. Like just stupidity. This book would have been done even just based on how far I'm in. This book is 14 hours worth of listening. Now, I'm not reading it because oh hell no, I can't. Now, those of you guys who have been with me for a while, yeah, I think it is spelled that way, Cypher. And if I don't, yeah, I think that is how it's spelled. If I if you have followed me for a while, or like you were with me back in like our early iterations of the book club, you all know how I reacted to Blood and Bone, right? I did not like that book. I did not like a Blood and Bone. Now Blood and Bone turned into I think a series. I feel like you can see it somewhere. Then there were sequels. Like this was a very successful book, but we read this book in the book club, right? Maybe 218, 219. Does that sound about right? And and the thing, I hated that book. I was like, I got mad at very like I'm like, okay. Because for me, I'm not into unnecessary suspense, you know? Like if I get I just can't. You know, I don't like stupid stuff. And the thing is that when you read books like that, they rely on their characters to be dumb in order to say all the things that they want to write about. Like that to me is what it is. So I'm about to be on this little rant. So here we go. So this book, you have this main character. She's got this whole sad story. Here's a sad story. So her father made them broke. She's got two other sisters, and the father got beat up from like a creditor or something like, and so now he just kind of gave up on life, and the mother passed when she was young, and the father's really not taking care of them. So they had money at some point and now they don't have anything. They live next to a fairy realm there, and they don't like fairies. They hate fairies. You know, I don't like books where we don't like fairies. Like what the hell is that? So now the fairies are horrible. They hate fairies. They grow up with that idea. Now they're broke, and in this brokenness, she's out there hunting. She's fending for her life, right? And so she's out there fending. There goes a wolf looking like it's about to take her dinner, which was like a little doe. And so for survival, she kills the wolf with an ash arrow because that's what kills fairies. Because she had a feeling, she goes, just in case it's a fairy, she's like, that fairy's about to be dead because I'm not about to be dead, you know, like I'm gonna get out of here. So she killed the fairy and she kills the doe to eat, skins the wolf, takes on the pelt, and then it was like, and then there's so much description of blood. This writer loves and loves and loves pools of blood, drips of blood, wet with blood. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like for real? Like, what is your issue? So now we gotta deal with that. Then and just unnecessary violence. Then she gets taken because, oh no, you know, you killed. Now it's a life for a life. We have a treaty. If you kill, you know, humans and fairies have a treaty. If you kill a fairy, now I take your life. You know, because you took ours, we're taking yours. You have two choices. I'm gonna disembowel you right now, or you know, you're gonna come to my land. So you know, she ends up going to the land because like her father was like, yo, just go. We'll be all right. How they gonna be all right when we know he ain't taking care of nothing? She's scared, but at this point, there's no choice, right? She's either gonna die right in front of them or whatever. That's like the vibe. And me, I'm listening to this and I'm like, this is stupid. But okay. So far, I'm like, all right, whatever. She gets there, and then the fairy is like this. And then you know how these books are. It sounds like he's got like blonde hair, you know, he's got green eyes. I can't tell you how many times I had to hear this guy's eyes are green. Over and over and over and over again. Green eyes, green. Oh, they're emerald. Oh, it's like, God, like, what are you? What is this? Blood, like what are the values? And then we already know he has blonde hair. You want to know how many times I got to hear about this damn blonde hair? Over and over and over and over again. Like you know who wrote this book. Their obsession with this stuff is just like bonkers to me. You have to have more to think about and write about. Like you have to apparently know. And people just eat this up. So, all right, here I am still like struggling and trying to handle this book. So then we get to the part where he's like, look, I'm gonna tell you a few things about her. She loves to paint, and we find that out in the beginning of the book. We see her interest. Oh, she loves to paint. She loves to what else does she love to do? loves to paint, and she doesn't know how to read or write. So her passion is painting. And so I'm like, all right, fine. I'm like, I'm trying to get with that. I can relate, right? I'm like, all right, I can relate to this. I'm gonna try to relate here. Here's an entry point for me. Okay. Creativity, entry point. And so then he's like, okay, you can just hang out here and you can read and you can just do whatever you want for the rest of your life. You're going to be well fed. And she's like, am I a prisoner? Am I your slave? I'm like, girl, pretty much. Like, kind of. But what he's saying is that you're gonna be like in a little gilded slave. This is like on some Beauty and the Beast crap. You know what I'm saying? Like you're on some Beauty and the Beast vibes right now. You should pick up what he's putting down. You ain't got nowhere to go. Your other options was to be starving at home with the forest with your ungrateful family. Like choose. Here are your choices. This is your life. Live in some relative luxury. Do whatever you want to do, right? Clearly you see that he's big and muscular and bold. Fall in love with the dude. Why not? You're there anyway, right? And just like paint. Come on now. The story's written. I'm done with the story. By the way, 2 hours in is when I have ended the story because that's all you have to do. All you have to do. Paint, eat well, fall in love with the dude. Get some fairy peen. What more do you want? The story's done. That's how I felt. But no, she's an idiot. The main character's an absolute idiot. She's constantly trying to run away. Where are you gonna run? You don't even know where you are. Oh, now you want to get the lay of the land and you want to sit here. What do you want to get the lay of the land for? No, for real. What do you want to get the lay of the land for? Chill the F out. You'll learn the lay of the land if you sit here. Just try to love this dude. Just try to love him. That's all you got to do. Apparently, he looks good to you, And then this is the thing. Because we can't just finish this damn story with a night, like just love each other, which it should have been just a short story and just end it there. And we get to see how they fall in love. Because we can't do that. And instead, she's got to be out here running and meeting fairies and meeting all this different stuff, doing stupid stuff all the damn time, risking her life, almost dying, risking her life, all this dumb stuff. Because this writer can't tell us all the dumb things in her mind, right? And all this fantasy stuff that she wants to tell us all about without her character being dumb. We got to go through 14 hours of BS. Okay? You see how challenged I was? 14 hours. And I'm not done. I'm going to finish this book today. I got to do my walking. So I'm going to put it on, but I have it now on. I wasn't smart at the time. I had it on just regular speed. Now I have it on 1.5 speed. So I'm going to get through this 1.5 speed, get right on through, because I don't even know why I was listening to it on regular speed in the first place. Well, because I thought at first I was like, oh, it's probably going to, I thought it might be a good book, because I'm being recommended. My friend's like, oh, I'm like, girl, I'm pissed off just right now. I'm so pissed off over just this ridiculous book because for me, I just feel like it's malicious from the writer's perspective. I'm like, you're maliciously looping me in so I can hear all the stories that you've ever wanted to tell about fairies. Like I'm reading your fairy fantasies, right? And this is all based off of you making this main character the biggest idiot that I have ever read about. Come on. And so that's when I realized I'm grown. And I don't think I've ever could have stomached this story like this. This isn't my vibe. I can't do it. I got just as mad at was it a blood and stone, right? I got just as mad. So my anger I spread it out. It's everyone gets this vitriol. This one, it's the same crap. It's the same. I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? Like this is the only way you can figure out how to tell. You just want us to read all your fantasies. My whole thing is that don't make it a love story. Just don't. Just enter a different realm, or can't you do this without people being dumb? Why do they have to be so dumb? Why am I done with this story? I finished your story at hour 2. And then I want you guys to understand this. This is your big, big spoiler. Spoiler alert. Spoiler is coming your way. It's about to slap you in your big face or small face, beautiful face. Okay. But spoiler alert, it's coming. Okay. We get to hour 10. okay, in this book. And remember, this is Audible. We get to like hour 10 in this 14-hour mess, okay? And we find out that the fairy's under a curse. He's not as powerful as she thinks. He's technically a slave, and the curse was he had to get. And this was the stupidest. When I heard this part, I was like, "You sat there and dragged this out for 8 hours." Because when I say 8 hours, from the time she got to Fairyland and the story kind of starts to develop, you dragged this out for 8 hours for us to find out that he's under a curse, and the curse is that he needed to find a human to fall in love with him who has killed a fairy out of hate, and then if he could get her to say "I love you" to his face, then the spell would be broken. 8 hours, a full workday, 8 hours of nonsense for her to do the thing that I want her to do at hour 2. At hour 2, all you need to do, I told her what she needed to do. Chill the F out, paint, learn how to read and write, because you can't do it. Fall in love with him, get some fairy peen. The story's done. I've already written it. We're done. But no, I don't like that. I feel insulted. So yeah, that was my challenging thing this week. Very challenged. And I'll finish it today. Because I can't go look. I can't go any longer with this. Very challenged. Something funny. Okay, African dance class. So something funny. I was trying to figure out what was funny this week. Well, part of what was funny was me reacting to this because we were laughing. Like every time I got pissed off, we're texting each other, and it's bonding. It's a bonding thing. In the end, we are bonding. There's something funny about the way I hate this book, and so that is funny. I will admit. You got to appreciate times like this. You got to appreciate. There is something precious about me being absolutely annoyed by this book. It's just like, what the hell, right? But the funny thing that I found is I put in African dance class. So now you guys know I had this whole thing about not wanting to do heels classes. So last year, if you were following, I had this whole I was like, heels classes, boo, I don't like them. If you don't know what heels classes are, or I heard another word term for those classes, adult movement classes. I'm like, y'all. So what they are, heels classes are just women who are taking kind of like stripper choreography and then using it in dance classes to empower themselves, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, and all that. And so they dress in kind of like these, like scantily clad, it's pretty much typically it's a femme space. So femme meaning that even if you are like biologically a male, you're there to explore your femme side. So it's a femme space. And yeah, that's what it's about, the celebration of everything. That was a very nice way of saying, like, it does gross me out. I don't know. I don't feel like being in a. I'm very clear and stabilized in my sexuality. I don't need to be rolling on the floor for this. I really don't. With a group of girls and we ain't dressed. I don't need that in my life. I don't need it. And then it's typically, and then the videos. The other part about it is all the videos. Like that's just not. I don't need it. So, but one of the big turnoffs for me of why like I didn't even feel like trying it was how many times I saw them on the floor, like with their knees on the hard floor, and they're like, "Well, you can wear knee pads." I'm like, nope. No. These knees are not built for that kind of rigor. That's not my lifestyle, and my body says no. And so, see, the thing is that, yeah, no, we're not. I treat my knees and my feet in a very like delicate way, right? I'm just not playing around. I knew a lady, and this is a big factor of why. I knew a lady that she was in her senior years, and I know I'm not a senior. I get it. I don't care. I don't care. All I need, you learn the lesson so I don't have to do the dumb thing. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it'd be a dumb thing. For her, I wouldn't say it was a dumb thing at the time. She didn't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. But once we know, I'm like, oh, hell no. So what happened was they were doing a CPR class, and it was a program that I was in, and they wanted all of us to wear t-shirts. I stayed home that day. The reason why I stayed home that day is because I wasn't wearing a t-shirt. I know. I know. This is my personality. Like, if there's something I don't like, whether it's knees on the ground, a t-shirt that you're trying to force us all to wear collectively, I'm not going. I won't participate. I just won't do it. And so I just wasn't well that day, and I wasn't. I couldn't participate in putting on some t-shirt that I didn't want to wear. Okay? So I was so against it. And even now I'm just like, why were you so I was just so against it. I couldn't I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, I just no. And I don't even now, but I understand, I trust myself. There was a deeper reason why I didn't want to wear it at the time. I'm sure of it. I'm sure. But I couldn't tell you what it was, but it was enough for me not to even show up. I was like, I ain't wearing that. So I didn't go to that particular event. I stayed my butt home, and and she went. Well, on that day, they were learning how to do CPR. There was no reason that I need to learn how to do CPR. This wasn't a thing that was a part of my job and what I do. And I looked at, and then also it was all the way in Brooklyn. I didn't feel like taking that trip. There were so many things. It's like, yeah, you know, that just sounds like a lot. This is really like where my head was at. I'm like, that sounds like a lot. You want me to wear a t-shirt? You want me to go to Brooklyn, in like rush hour traffic in the morning? Then you want, and we're doing what? Yeah, I'm not feeling that well today. So we're going to have to miss out on that one. So that was what I did. Well, she ended up tearing her meniscus. So she's on her knees, and being on her knees that long put pressure on her meniscus. It got torn, and that changed her life. From that moment on, her mobility, everything, it took her out. It changed her life. It changed the things that she does, and it changed the way she could even navigate life. Mind you, she's a New Yorker who was used to walking around and hitting the streets and going all these different places. And New York is very much a place for someone who can walk. It's not a place it's really not, to say it's accessible is not true. It's just not that accessible. A little bit, but not really. Her older, Upper West Side building was barely accessible for that kind of like the life that she lived. So when I saw that, it was like mental note: take care of your knees. Just take care of your knees, and don't be out here doing unnecessary things. Just don't do things like yoga, make sure you're strength training and you're like doing things and exercises to help take care of your knees, but also, but also take care of your knees. Okay. So that's it. So one thing you ain't gonna see me do is sit there on a hard floor and put my knees on a hard floor haphazardly in choreography. And so we're doing so we're doing all these different things, and the teacher's like, okay, now we're gonna do this. And I looked at her, and you just see me standing up. Never once do I like do what she's doing. Now, usually whatever she's doing, I'm gonna do because I'm trying to learn the dances. And every time she goes on the ground, I was like, mm-mm. Mm-mm. And so she didn't understand at first because she's teaching. She's lots going on. I'm the one person who's like, oh, hell no. So then when it was time, because then she's like, well, if you don't, do that, you'll go to the back. And that's what she thought she was saying to me, because that's what I thought she was telling me. But what she was saying is that the front row goes down on their knees and they do this little move, and then they stand back up, and then the back row goes down. So according to her choreography, I can't get out of this knee situation. And I'm saying, hell no, we're not doing that. And so, but this is the part she doesn't know. Like, I'm saying this inside. And so finally we get to, and she goes, you're supposed to go down. So finally the music ends, and we walk off, and I go up to her. I said, my knees don't do that. And she starts laughing, and I start laughing. And she goes, oh. So she goes, essentially what you were saying was, I hear you, but I ain't doing that. I'm like, yeah. Oh, we got a good chuckle. We got a good chuckle out of that. I love it. Me. She's like, all right, well, go over to the side. Don't mess my choreography. I'm like, no problem. No problem. So I had it all done. So where we had this little dance where we're doing all these things. And once I said, okay, once we do that, I'm gonna move over to the side so that you can be in there. And so we don't mess with the choreography. Because I didn't want to be in the middle of the floor, doing all kinds of wild stuff, messing up choreography. So I didn't. So I thought that was kind of funny. Just that moment where we're looking, she's like, because you know how I'm not sure if you ever seen a choreography, but when the whole class, if you're a teacher or if you taught anything and you look out over across the students or the class and everyone's doing the thing that you taught, and that means everyone has caught it, everyone has absorbed it. It's a very satisfying feeling. It is such a great feeling. So I'm messing up her dopamine hit essentially by me being like, because I'm up like just like this, like. No, I ain't doing that. Because at first she just thought I wasn't understanding. I'm like, no, I understand. I'm not doing that. These needs don't do that stuff. So thank you so much. So that was my something funny. It made me laugh. All right, something deep. Rest. Y'all, we have to rest. Rest is powerful. Rest is important. I have my main things that I achieve. So French lessons every day, check. Walking 10,000 steps a day, check, which is why I take care of my knees. I got some good stretches in this week, good deep stretches in this week. So I've been making sure I'm stretching, which is another aspect of rest, resting your body in a different way. And then what else did I do? I think I did a little bit more. French, writing 15 minutes a day, check. So I did all of that. So, that's a part of my thing. And then I study. So study, writing, French, walking. These are my regular things that I do and achieve. What's up, Juanita? And so what hit me was rest. We went out dancing last night, as we said. So look, Wani is right on time. And I had already done all my walking for the day, so I wasn't really trying to go like too hard in the paint when it came down to like dancing. But when I was dancing on the dance floor, I felt great. I felt like really, 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 really great. And it's so interesting because when I was like going to dance class, like I'm in there on a regular basis, multiple times a week, I never felt that good on the dance floor as I felt last night. And then as I've been noticing, the more rest that I take from dancing, the better I feel on the dance floor. My body just feels happier. My body feels, it's not like, what I mean by dancing, I am of course taking African dance class, but I'm talking about the training that I was doing, like really based off of salsa. And I'm like, the rest, it's like my body just needed to be like, can you like just free me of this? So I can actually enjoy it. And now I enjoy it so much more. Like every dance I had last night, it was just fun. And I danced with solid people, which was whew, that was a relief. A relief. Juanita, we didn't talk about this, but since you're here, we didn't talk about this, but it's so different when you're dancing with like people who you're like, okay, they all know how to dance. Like it's just like there's a lot less anxiety than when you go out to these like larger spaces and you don't know who these people are. So anyway, that's just a mental note, but so last night felt really, really, really good. Of just like, okay, these are all dancers that we know, that we like, the ones that we dance with, right? The ones that we dance I think what I just did right now is an inside joke. But let's just say I can't say anymore. I don't know who watches these videos. I don't know who watches these videos. That's gonna stay on the inside. It's gonna stay on the inside. Yes, let's see. When he says less anxiety when you know the people. We keep that joke. We're gonna keep it on the inside. Let's lock that in. Okay. It's a great time. I had a great time. Okay, so so I found that rest is really, really, really important. And I see how it impacts my life in those very subtle ways. So there you go. That's my something deep. It just kind of hit me, and I'm wondering now. I'm like, what other things, what other things? But on the other hand, the consistency is also important as well. I'm starting to see that I am thinking more in French. I still get French anxiety when I'm around people, but it's lessening. It's lessening over time, and the more that I'm thinking in it, the less the anxiety is hitting or has like that power to derail me. So it's happening, and I'm really excited about that. Okay, Jet. Okay, so then we have something special, something beautiful, something beautiful. Oh, Juanita, you came right on time. Okay, I just thought about it. It's right here. I said that Juanita and I have found a very strategic approach to going out. And I honestly found it to be quite beautiful. Like there's a bit of like this like harmony in the way it all happens. We're able to be like in sync with everything. And it feels really, really, really good to go out and you kind of like we have a plan, we're gonna work this out. Cause we had to go through some stuff because I was accused of dancing, which I did not do which I did not do. It was a hyperbole, but I was accused of dancing 3 dances one time when we said we were leaving. And it was a hyperbole because that's not actually what happened, I promise. But when I heard it, I was like, that's how it felt. Clearly, that's how it felt because that is not what happened, but it did feel that way. So I was like, okay, well, we have to be clear about all this. But what happens is that when it's time to leave or when it gets closer, I think it's also just the salsa culture in general that, you know, I'm not trying to be out all night, but they like to really start dancing at 11 and 12 and 1. Like that's when they want to pop off, right? That's like when the heavy hitters want to be like, this is our time. We're finally here. This is it. Let's go crazy on the dance floor. Meanwhile, I want to go crazy on the dance floor at 8 p.m. Right? We have two different desires, right? And so what happens is, and then you have dancers, people showing up at 10 and 11, even though the event says it's over at midnight, that's when they're showing up. So you have those kinds of dancers. And so when you're trying to leave at that time because you want to get home so you can do other things the next day, like this video, in peace, then that's when they're coming in. And you're like, and that's what happened. That's what's happened quite a few times. Or I don't like to talk at parties that much. I don't like the small talk and all the chipper chapper. Like there gets to a point where I'm just like, we're done, right? We've done everything we can, right? We're done. And other people are just a bit more talkative than me. They really can like engage in real conversations. Don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they really like get into it. My attention span is gone very quickly. And so I'd rather just do something else. I'll be dancing, I'll be doing other things. So yeah. I mean, it was crazy. Juanita lost her jacket. She said it was 2. It was 1. I promise you, it was 1.5. It was 1.5 to be clear. Okay, the real story. She says 2. It wasn't 2. It was 1.5. Because what happened is that while y'all were talking, blah 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 blah, we engaged in half a dance. Okay, then what happened was because the song was pretty much almost ending. Then a full song came on, and then he was like, "Oh, do you want to like really dance?" And I was like, "Yeah, might as well." Not might as well. That's not true. It was like, "Yes." And that's what happened. Not might as well. It was more of like, so now I remember very clearly. Thank you for the clarification. It was 1.5. It was not full 2 though. It was 1.5. There was talking, there was playing behind you all. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we said goodbye. There, blah, blah, blah. And so now I'm dancing. So I'm playing with a guy because I'm done. And what's the point of this? Right? I can't do it. So now I'm playing and then a full song comes on and we did it. So yes, it was the same person, which is why I first said 1. So 1.5, okay, that's a middle space. She said 3, I said 1, 1.5. is closer. It is the actual truth, the reality. It wasn't two. The two is her interpretation of the fact there were two songs involved, but we actually only did one and a half. Okay, there we go. Somewhere you'll find the truth. That's where it is. And anyway, I still think it's very beautiful that we have found a way to, to go out, and I think a very, well timed and healthy way. I found beauty in that. Okay. The other thing that happened was, and also beautiful, was that I was feeling myself last night. I had like three pairs of shoes that I brought. One was like a kind of like a wedge boot that I do like to wear sometimes, but I was not feeling them. I was like, "Oh, I don't want to wear this." And I brought my sneakers, like my everyday like sneakers that I've had forever that just somehow do their thing. And then I had my dance shoes. And then in the end, I just wore my sneakers. They were perfect. I was like, this is great. So I had my sneakers on, cute little outfit. And then that was it. But before that, in the middle of the day, after dance class, this was like a very beautiful moment. I'm getting ready to leave dance, African dance, and I'm looking and I get this FaceTime that I missed. I was like, what's that? And so then my friend was like, hey, we're at Title Nine, which is like a restaurant. And she was like, and my niece was like, is she coming? So she thought I was coming. I wasn't coming. But I was like, I could swing by. I love this little girl. This is the little girl that, she'll always hug me and everything. So, I'm gonna go and get my hugs. You already know I'm about to go and get my hugs. And so I'm like, she has called me, I shall come. And so right after class, I just drove over there and I spent about just like probably 30 minutes just hanging out for a bit. And I told her, I said, I won't, because I was getting ready to just say hello and just say goodbye. And then she was like, no, don't go, don't go. I said, well, do you want to eat together? So we did. We actually had a little meal together. I got some macaroni and cheese. She got some macaroni and cheese and fries. And kids, of course, get a better meal than the adults. And then, well, it's not healthy at all, but you know what I mean. It was like more food. And we're sitting there and we're just eating our little food and talking. She told me a bit about school. We watched Peppa Pig together, about 5 minutes of that. Then we watched Spider-Man, about 30 seconds of that. Then we watched Bluey, about 2 minutes of that. Children's attention span is just phenomenal. And then it was time for us to go. The cute thing about that is, the cute thing about it was I had read this in Shonda Rhimes' book, a very good book, a book that I highly recommend, In the Year of Yes. And she was talking about how one of the best quotes that came from that book to me was work doesn't work without play. And this came from, she was so like working hard and hitting like the ground and going, 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 going. And she wasn't playing and she was like missing her time with her kids. And, she became someone that she's just waving goodbye, and of course she has nannies, she has support, she has a whole village like to help with just her world. But she was missing that connection. And so she knew that. And remember, she's in her year of yes. And right before she's getting ready to leave, all dressed up, going to some big event, her daughter asks and says, hey, do you want to play? And so she stopped and she just said, yeah, we're going to play. And that became the thing that she did. But the cool thing about it when she describes it, like, yep, whenever they ask me to play, I'm going to play. That's like my commitment. And when she said that, it really like moved me. Like, yeah, you just stop. But the cool part was she goes, kids don't have much of an attention span. So by the time, you spend 15 minutes, like they're pretty much done with you. So it doesn't even take that much. And so I wasn't like trying to exercise this theory. I really wasn't. But I just went and I was like, okay. I just had a feeling because I didn't go for my friend. My friend was doing her thing. She was like doing this whole thing. She needed her attention on those people. So I went for the kid who called me, right? And literally, yeah, we put in about 30 minutes. 30 minutes of time and 30 minutes meaning like from us getting the food and all of that, saying our goodbyes, saying our hello. But I would probably say at the end, it was probably about 15 minutes of us really like interacting if you add it all up. Yeah, we put in that much of time and that was it. And we were fine. And we made our little bond, our little connection, gave her a hug. She was a little sad to see me go, but she was so sweet. She understood. She understood that I came by just to say hello to her and we shared a meal. And I think knowing that I came by just to share that time with her and we did it. We watched something. We just did our thing and we left. It was perfect. And that was it. That was us doing our thing. It was something beautiful. So yeah, that's my something beautiful. That was my day. So best week ever. Yeah. I mean, will I have like these beautiful things, to come out of this book that I'm reading? I don't know. I don't know. I think my own writing that I've been doing, beautiful things are coming out of that because I am so upset with the ridiculousness of this book that I'm making sure my book is not ridiculous. Okay. In the way that I think is ridiculous. Now, someone else might read this book and be like, what the hell is this? And that's fine because we're not making things for everyone. But actually, I mean, I'm making this book when I first started writing the book, I have like this like thing that I wrote and began. I'm like, this is your act of self-love. So I always knew that this was about me and me like telling the story that I've always wanted to know and read. Right. So that's what it is. And this clearly, I know that this is the story that this person always wanted to read. You can tell because the as dumb as they had to make this character just so they could tell all this other junk. I was like, this wasn't you knew this story was over in hour two. You wanted to find a way to tell us all this mother effing BS. You wanted us to learn it. And for those who like that kind of stuff will actually really love this book. It's a hit. The book is a hit. So I want to be clear. This is a hit of a book and people absolutely love it, which is why I don't mind expressing my opinion on it because I know that not everything's for everyone. And I love that about art in general. So this is a book, just like Twilight was a book that everyone loved, just like, or a series, and that's fine, right? You're not going to take away its shine. Okay. And that's one thing I know I'm not doing. This is, we want to tell the stories that we want to tell. And so this did inspire me in that sense. My frustration with the book is also inspiration to say, well, keep on telling your story because she the hell surely did. And you are the fool reading it, right? You used your Audible credit to read this. So she gets something for you having to listen to this nonsense. I just went away with the straw altogether. That's how I felt. Had to take it to the head. I guess not really, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, something beautiful. So was this the best week ever? Yeah. It's so easy. Gosh, there's so much more. It's funny because I was telling my friends about just some other things I won't put on here, because privacy and everything. But there's wonderful things happening, and so yeah, absolutely best week ever. I'm content. I'm over the moon for just the way things are, and yeah. So I hope you all are also having the best week ever. Remember, it's up here. Um, and yeah, so thank you for visiting Kiki's House of Joy. I'm glad that I could report here from my special space in space. Okay. And I will see you all what's it called? Next Sunday. And make sure you're looking for those little moments. And if you had some moments, I'm curious of what they are. What are they? What were those little moments? What was something beautiful that happened for you? Right? What's something challenging? Was there something challenging? Now, challenges are good. It's your opportunity to grow. It's your opportunity to push yourself and figure out where you can grow even more. I have another challenge I did not mention just because not your business, but trust me, it was a very good challenge. It's a very good challenge, which actually absolutely contributed to the best week ever. So I'm really happy about that. Future self, if you are if you're watching this and you're like, well, shoot, remember that you wanted to also document this for you, so you remember what these are. You journaled about this. So just right now, make sure you put a date on that journal entry so you can make the connection. Okay. So today is the 1st of February. So date it that day. And now you'll know. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Okay. Hallelujah. Hallelujah magic. EO and Bunya. And I will see you all next week.